My fellow Americans and friends from all over the world, my name is Paulo Figueiredo. I am a Brazilian journalist and commentator for the second largest news channel on Brazilian TV. I'm sending you this message because many of you have heard that Brazil just held its presidential elections, and I want to clarify some misconceptions. First of all, don't believe in most things you read in the mainstream media. Just like in the United States, the mainstream press in Brazil has been corrupted, and most of them serves as a propaganda machine for the left. And that is what this is all about. The left is trying to retake power in Brazil. You must know this. Lula and his party, the Workers' Party, were in power in Brazil for almost 13 years, from 2003 to 2015, when his successor was removed from office by impeachment for defrauding public accounts. In the meantime, the Workers' Party was being investigated in the largest corruption scandal in the history of the modern world, known as the Operation Car Wash. Several congressmen, ministers, and leaders of the Workers' Party, Lula's party, were arrested and convicted of corruption. The money was being used to finance campaigns, bribe politicians, and to advance the left agenda, and even to finance some socialist dictatorships worldwide. By the end, several people confessed their crimes, billions of dollars were returned to the government, and Brazil fell under its worst economic depression ever. Lula himself was convicted of corruption 2 times, and in several instances, by a federal judge, then by a panel of judges in the appeals court unanimously, and again by another panel in the Superior Court of Appeals with an abundance of evidence. Millions of people demonstrated on the street until Lula was arrested and his successor impeached from office. A few years later, Jair Bolsonaro, a low-influence congressman and retired captain in the army, was elected president. He's far from perfect, but the fact is, since then, my country had no significant corruption scandal. We shifted away from China's influence and from supporting Latin American drug states to a stronger friendship with the United States and Israel, for example. Our economy was one of the least affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and for the first time in my life, Brazil is growing more and faster than China and has less inflation than the United States this year. But how is Lula running for president, you might ask? Well, because Brazil's Supreme Court, famous for its political activism, deemed all Lula's trial as invalid and ordered a new trial. But he was already too old under Brazilian law to go under this new trial, so he basically got away with it. One important detail: he was the one who appointed most of the justices that invalidated his trial. Yeah, no kidding. Make no mistake, Lula's election would be disastrous for the United States and most of the free world's interests. Lula just won the first round of our presidential election by a 5% margin, although the polls showed him winning by as much as 18 percentage points. But Brazil's election has 2 rounds, with a runoff election happening on October 30th. Lula has all the establishment on his side: the academia, the artists, the financial market, the electoral courts, and definitely the media. But the battle's far from over. Bolsonaro has shown support that took the country and the world by surprise. He elected a substantial majority in the Senate and in Congress and in several states. The truth is, no one knows what's going to happen, and this is probably the most critical election in the history of Brazil. Please forward this video to all your friends.